Hey, what's going on? I'm Danny Kanell. Welcome to VT Sports. Alongside my guy, Chris Mano, another big show lined up for you today. The NFL playoff field is set. Maybe we'll go through, give a little Super Bowl predictions, go through some of these playoffs. Also, Black Monday is today, the worst day if you're an NFL head coach. Some surprises out there as far as who was fired and what direction some of these franchises are going to go. We'll discuss that. Plus, the Miami Dolphins, their quarterback, I don't know, it's not the starting quarterback, had some interesting words to say. We'll talk about Tua Tagovailoa, what he had to decide. And your boys in the news again. I don't know what's going on here, Mano, but it's not all great. So we'll discuss that as well. A lot to get to, but it's been a fun week, man. Good to see you. Happy New Year, officially, here as we sit here in 2026. You know what today is? Today is officially when my New Year's resolutions start.
Oh,
they don't start on January 1st, especially when it falls on a Thursday. It's like you got a whole weekend ahead. So my official New Year's resolutions start today. The diet tightened up, starting off a little fast, no food, going to just cleanse out the system.
Love it.
Early morning wake-ups. Like I'm talking early, because I get up early as it is. 4:30.
You're on that Wahlberg program.
Yeah, exactly. 4:30 wake-ups, a lot of water every day, a lot of reading every day. Good. I'm trying to do something for just overall well-being and sleep. I'm trying to go no iPad or phone in my room, like in my bedroom, at night, like after 9 o'clock.
I love that. I love the whole thing. I think usually it's like life gets in the way of that, though. That's usually the hardest part, right? Like my alarm clock is my phone now. So like, how do I get up if my
I got a watch that'll wake me up. So I use my watch for that.
Beautiful.
The hardest part though is like I usually like, what do you like to do? Like when you go to bed, kind of start vegging out, just like a zombie. Mm-hmm. And this is really, as a parent, I've seen my children and my wife, but when I look at them, I'm like, that's what I look like.
Okay.
So I want to try to set a better example for them, because I look at them and it's just zombies. Like you're just scrolling and we're seeing this brain rot unfold right before our eyes. So I'm really trying to restrict some of it. But you know what kind of stinks? A lot of times I'll be doing show prep, before I go to bed. But I'm going to try to do some reading and, maybe journaling as well, just kind of settling down. Because there's plenty of time throughout the 24 hours of a day that I don't have to be doing it in bed. So the last thing I go to sleep is seeing all the stimulation, scrolling through different things. The other hard part is I like to fall asleep watching shows. Like I'll throw on old Seinfeld and just fall asleep to that in 2 minutes. Sure. But I want to get rid of that habit too. Yeah. So I'm trying to set some new habits, a new course. Have you heard of Jocko Willink?
Come on, of course I
have. Jocko's my guy. Man. So the 4:30 wake up he does. I mean, he posts a picture of his watch every day, but he's got a app that he's got. It's like a checklist of how you can. It's called the Def Reset. Okay. Discipline equals freedom. That's his big mantra. Mm-hmm. So I have a checklist of things to do. First being wake up before the enemy. Got to get up before the enemy. Then it's workout. At some point throughout the day, every day. It's drink a lot of water. It's good food. The hardest thing for me, because everyone's like, oh, what are you going to do? My wife's like, what are you going to do for a diet? Like, well, you're saying you're getting cleaned up. No processed foods, no sugar.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one because I love convenience.
Yes. Yeah. And as somebody who travels a lot, and I have kids, and when we're at the gas station, they're like, hey, get a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And I love some Doritos, just a little bag. I love chips and salsa. It's probably my favorite snack, but those chips are processed, so they're in a bag. So I'm trying to give up that. And then sugars, I have a little bit of a sweet tooth, so I like to grab a Skittles or some sour gummy bears. I'm definitely, and then no alcohol, dry January. So I got some people have said it's too lofty of a list, like don't make it so big so it's achievable. Screw that. I'm going all in. I'm going big or go home.
Yeah. See, I'm with you in a couple of sense that you said a couple minutes ago that you're like, you're at the lovely stage of the parenting game right now. You talked about your parenting and then your kids being zombies. And I'm thinking about like I'm a zombie right now because I'm just starting parenting. So that little girl dictates everything I do. So I go home with a plan to go to sleep, no iPad, no this, and then I'm up for 7 hours. Right. And then like I'm lucky now I'm getting to the point where when I do lay down, it's just hitting me like a ton of bricks. So it's not a ton of sleep, but I don't need the iPad. I don't need to hear that background noise. I'm just knocking out. So that's helping me a ton. With the sweet tooth and stuff, I have one. I generally find that once I can get through like 2 or 3 days without it, first day is the worst, second day is the worst, and then once you get through that, I'm kind of like, I'm cool. I'm chilling out now. And you find little ways to like supplement that sweet tooth. It could be a banana here. It could be plantains as your chips and just put them in some hummus or something. You figure it out. If you really want to do it.
I'll get there. Our boy Clifton, friend of PBD, he's hit us up for some workouts. I'm a little bit intimidated because he's jacked.
Dude, I've done.
And you're jacked. No, it's not too bad.
No, I'm a little doughy right now. A little doughy for me right now, but I've done the Clifton program, brother. You come in that mindset. You don't show up to a Clifton workout like ready to lollygag your way through.
That's why I feel like I need to work up to that point. Like get a few lifts in before I come in, or else I won't be able to walk the next day. I won't be able to like move my arms.
Well, that's fair. Yeah. You won't be able to move your arms, and he's a big upper guy.
Yeah,
big upper guy. So but it's going to be a matter of the mindset you've been, that you've wired yourself to have. You're going to get through it. Next day's gonna be brutal for you, though.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
I don't know if I'll be able to brush my teeth because I've had those curl workouts. I used to not be able to brush your hair or do anything, so I don't have that much hair to work with anyway. So it's not that big a deal. Friday night was a ton of fun. PBD's podcast with Stephen A.
You crushed it.
It was really cool to get up there doing a little politics. It was like, oh boy, and it wasn't bad for not getting a lot of the topics until like a couple hours before the show.
Well, I tell people here, and I don't want to like stroke your ego right now, but I tell people here like it's infinitely easier to work with you because you're so damn good, right? Well, for you up there the other night, you can go in there. Like, I feel moderately good with my politics, PBD, and he knows exactly when to come to you. He's got a feel for that. Like, I'm not going to throw you into the deep end of the pool if you're not ready. Right. So, dude, he dropped it on you a couple times, and you had something crazy ready. I'd be honest, I thought you had the soundbite of the night. I loved it. Sweet. I loved it, man. I thought you did a wonderful job. Hopefully the first of a bunch of things you get to do with those guys. It was awesome.
Awesome. And like it's being up there with those guys makes it easy. The home team, Stephen A. Stephen A. is a legend. It was a ton of fun. Hopefully you get to get back on there. You have to check it out on PBD's podcast from Friday night with Stephen A. It was a ton of fun. NFL, the weekend was kind of a dud. The Saturday was good because you had the 2 play-in games. You had the Ravens-Steelers game, which unfortunately for the Ravens kicker was a memory that he's going to want to forget, a little chip shot to win the game, to make the playoffs, and you miss it. Oh.
But it's so funny right now. Like, we're calling, like, this is like the steroid era of kickers. I don't know what it is, right? But we're calling a 44-yarder a chip shot, right? It's a 44-yarder. When I was a kid, a 44-yarder is challenging, right?
Yeah.
And, man, right off his foot, the thing started veering left. I'm hearing a lot of people say, why did John Harbaugh take 3 steps back and kneel? It just made it harder for him. And I watched the way that kick went, and I was like, man, if...
It was never close. He could have been from an extra point.
Yeah, I said on Twitter, if that was a 30 or 35-yarder. It wasn't the kick that beat him. It was the moment, you know?
Yeah,
totally. The moment that beat this kid.
Moment, absolutely brutal for him. Man. You hate to see that. You hate to see anybody go down that way.
And you know what else you hate? I could just say one thing. Dude, death threats, and they're hitting his fiance on social media saying, like, you're marrying a loser. Come on, guys. You got to be better than that, though, right?
That is unacceptable, but unfortunately, that's a reality of being a professional athlete today with the access that fans have to social media. They can find it. They can fire him off at you.
Yeah.
That is brutal. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for his fiance that they have to live through that.
Yeah.
And that'll be the worst part about this. I am telling you this from experience. The worst thing is if this was a week ago, you could redeem yourself this week.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To end the season and have to sit on that an entire offseason is absolutely brutal. Now, I had bad games maybe to finish the season, which is brutal, but to have a kick, and it's the only thing that you have to think about all offseason, I can't imagine.
Yeah,
I can't imagine him having to go through that.
I mean, you look at other guys who've gone through it, and they find themselves on, like, that infamous list, that list you don't want to be on, that Scott Norwood list,
right?
That Bill Buckner list, that list of guys who have made that mistake that no matter how good a career, like now, the beautiful thing about Loop, though, I'd say the only silver lining to this is that he's so young, he has a chance to go make a career out of it still. Like, if he's an older guy, and that's one of the last things you think of, like a Bill Buckner, I think my understanding is he had a pretty decent career. Yeah. He's a pretty decent player.
Yeah.
And all anyone thinks about is that ball rolling through his legs in the biggest situation. I think it's because he was older at the time and never really had a chance to have another moment. You hope this kid kind of tightens up mentally and he can come back next year and the year after and the year after that and end up doing something, something to kind of change that narrative. But, yeah, you said it, man. The hard part about that is a kicker, once upstairs gets a little fishy for you, it's tough to get it back.
And it's harder even for a younger guy who doesn't really have a long resume to fall back on. You don't have a lot of positive mental images. He's going to have to rebound in a big way. You know what's crazy? From 40 to 49 yards in the season, he was 8 of 8.
Oh, yeah.
Until last night.
Bro, it wasn't the kick, man. That guy, I'm sure that guy goes out there in warm-ups. It's like me on the driving range, bro.
Yep.
Give me 10 shots. I'm dropping it close to the pin, probably 6 or 7 of them. Get me out on a course, man. I'm sitting pretty with the trees.
Yep.
So
the other game that unfolded was Buccaneers Panthers, where go ahead.
Before we move,
Yeah.
can we talk about the great Rodgers, dude?
Oh yeah,
Come
for sure.
on.
Yeah, a little vintage.
I mean, dude, that fourth quarter,
Yeah.
that fourth quarter was incredible. 11 for 14, 135, a touchdown, and 130 rating.
Yeah.
I mean, when you needed to be big, man, good for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
People have been writing him off, and he did it with no DK Metcalf.
That was huge. And I saw DK Metcalf post on Instagram. Him, what was it? What's the influencer's name? Drewski, right? Drewski coming out of jail, little skit that he did.
Yeah.
He will be playing with a vengeance. The question is, will it be enough?
Yeah.
I don't think the Steelers are too much of a threat in the playoffs, but you never know. Mike Tomlin, after the game, pounding on his chest. He said, this is why we had Aaron Rodgers at 40, 41 years old come to the Steelers to get us in. They're champions of the North, so they win their division. They'll have an opportunity. And then this is the great part about the postseason. It's all about getting there. And then it's anybody. Anybody's ball game could win. All it takes is 1 or 4, depending on what your goals are. But you knock off one upset in this thing, all of a sudden, people are going to start looking at you saying, uh-oh, like that team could be tough to beat. And I would venture to guess most defensive coordinators would probably not want to be facing Aaron Rodgers at any point of his career, and especially with eligible DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I feel like you're 100% right there. The thing is, I mean, they're facing that. He's facing that daunted Houston defense. It's crazy. I'd love to get your thoughts on this. So I'm not a firm believer of, I don't know, man. I don't know why. I don't think home field is much of a thing if you're an Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers believes he can, but he's playing home, right? But can Houston, them young, hungry dogs, come into there, and are they intimidated by Heinz Field? It's not even called Heinz Field anymore. Acrisure Field. Are they intimidated by that and the towels and all that? Does it help?
I think home field is overrated in the NFL. We're talking about professional athletes. It's loud. It's exciting. I don't think it's as significant. I do think the weather could be significant.
Definitely.
A team from Houston coming out there to Pittsburgh to have to play in nasty conditions. Houston can get cold, but nowhere near that type of condition. So I do think experience helps Aaron Rodgers a ton. So I still like the Texans to get it done because their defense is so nasty, but I would not be surprised at all if the Steelers pulled off the victory.
The matchup is cool because it's experience, and I've been there before, and I'm going to fall back on what I know with Aaron Rodgers, and it's almost like naivety of the Houston team that are just young, and they're just like, we're going in there with our ears pinned back, Who expected Houston, who expects Houston to really do much anyway? Like, as good as they've been this year, no one really, we think about like 5-7 teams that we think could win a Super Bowl at the beginning of the year. It's not Houston. So they're coming in and they're thinking, look, we're playing with house money. We're going to Pittsburgh. We're playing on their field, and we're coming. We're coming to take everything.
No doubt. The other interesting aspect that was unfolding on Sunday was the Buccaneers beat the Panthers on Saturday, and then they needed help. And so the pictures that I think it was Baker Mayfield's wife kept posting of him on her Instagram, of him watching games unfold, the Saints-Falcons game where they needed a Falcons win, and he's just sitting there helpless. He had done exactly what they needed to do. The problem was, for the Bucs, they had this from the midway point. They were in the driver's seat, and then just the collapse down the stretch. It was just too little, too late. And I know Baker's dying, and he just wanted a chance at that. But this wasn't about, yesterday and the reaction and getting the win against the Panthers. This is about the collapse to finish the season.
Absolutely, man. They came out of the gate super hot. We were talking about Baker as he was your leader in the clubhouse, and I think most of us had him probably through the first month or month and a half of the season, right in that 1 or 2 mix for the Super Bowl. For the MVP. What happened to the Bucs is what always happens to the Bucs, man. That team is so fragile. They got stars out there every year, and every year guys get hurt, right? Mike Evans missed significant time this year. Godwin's always good for a stint or two on the injured reserve. Egbuka, who came out of the gates real hot, sort of took a back seat to those two when they came back. He wasn't able to take over games. Early in the year, there was 2 or 3 weeks in a row where he was going off for like 150, 160 and making a big catch at the end to really, really impact the games. And we didn't see much of that at the end of the year. They weren't coming up with that big play that they did over the first 6 weeks. And it sucks because they were a fun story. I love their mix of veterans. Everyone loves Mike Evans, right?
Yeah.
Consummate pro. He lost his 1,000-yard streak, which he's had for like 11 years or so, tied Jerry Rice, I think. And that's down now because of the broken clavicle. And then they do what they're supposed to do. And they can't, they still don't manage to get in because of the way the Atlanta game went.
You always want to control your own destiny. Yeah. They didn't control theirs, and it ended up to bite them. And now the Panthers play host to the Rams. The games on Sunday were all about seeding. There was, the play-in games or the pseudo playing game Saturday felt a lot bigger. There was a lot more at stake. Sunday was more about seeding, but the Rams will travel to Carolina as a 10.5-point favorite, which is crazy. I think it's the first time a home wild card team, or excuse me, a home team has been double-digit underdogs. Like, we've seen underdogs before, but not 10.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matter of, how strong that division was, that your third best team in that division could be those killers, which 3 weeks ago we were saying was our Super Bowl favorites. I still wouldn't. I mean, I don't know what the odds are in Vegas, but I still would venture to guess that it's pretty long odds on them. You know, they got good odds to win, right? They have guys who've done it before. They got stars in all the right spots. They got a great coaching staff. And yeah, Carolina's probably in over their head. I do think it's time we do something.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, you can't. We saw this happen a bunch of years ago where I think Russell and Seattle made the playoffs at like 7-9, and good teams are going home. I mean, I'm glad everybody in the division got in, but to think that the Rams road is going to look like that because a team like Carolina gets in with the division thing, I think that sucks a little bit.
I do too, but it happens so rarely. I think it's a weird quirk that actually doesn't bother me that much. I don't think we should retweak or retool anything in the playoffs. There's been multiple times. Look at the wild cards in general. I mean, didn't the New York Giants win as a wild card?
Sure did.
I think they were 9-7, though, right?
Sure
they weren't 7-9. They were 9-7, one of those Super Bowls with Eli Manning. So it's part of what makes the regular season pretty special in the NFL. That every game matters, and if you take care of business, you can get a spot in there.
I saw a tweet the other day that it said, I think if you get into the playoffs with a losing record, you should not be able to get into the playoffs, and the next highest team with a winning record should get in. You should not get into the tournament if you've lost more games than you won. It's just embarrassing. I hate that. I know you're absolutely right when you say it doesn't happen a lot, but I actually really liked that when I read it. I was like, okay, so the 7-9 team doesn't get in, but maybe the next 9-8 team gets in, or the next, I'm
all divisions are not created equal. I do think this NFC South has been abysmal. It's been horrible.
Yeah. For a couple years.
Yes, but who knows? Maybe something interesting could happen out there.
I got to be honest. I'm feeling the Saints a little bit. I think there's a shot that the Saints, if they do the right thing over the next 1 or 2 years in the draft and maybe a free agent or two signing, I think they could be in the seat. I like
Tyler Schuck might be Rookie of the Year. He's played phenomenal down the stretch.
Yes,
something I liked him coming out of Louisville. He's tall. He can run. He never could stay healthy in college. That's the thing. And now that and that's why he was a second-round pick, and people were like, where did this guy come from? He's got a ton of potential if he just stays healthy. And sometimes you get banged up. You have bad luck. He hurt his thumb. He had a couple seasons end early, started his career at Oregon, then transfers around a couple times. But when he's healthy, he can play with the best of them. And what's going to be kind of crazy, I don't know if it's going to be him or Tedero McMillan, the wide receiver from Carolina.
Stud.
He just got to 1,000 yards, was pretty significant for a rookie wide receiver.
And on a team that runs the crap out of the ball. They don't throw the ball at all.
I took some heat from Saints fans because I said I thought Tedero McMillan was going to be the rookie of the year, not Tyler Schuck. So we'll see who ends up winning that one.
And you said that you were pretty high on Tyler Schuck coming out. And I got to be honest, man, I maybe wasn't as in tune as I should have been. I feel like he got nothing but heat coming out for getting drafted. So I didn't hear one person say,
well, also the Shador impact of the draft. Every time there was a quarterback,
that's a very, very good point.
Not Shador, was
very
like,
good
who's
point.
this bum?
Very good point.
Like just because everybody wanted to see Shador go, and it was like, oh my goodness. I honestly thought that he was very much a placeholder because I didn't think the Saints would be very good this year, and they were going to draft Arch Manning next draft. So Tyler Schuck, Arch Manning's coming back to Texas, so he'll have to have one more good year. But he looks set up. He's the starter going into the offseason. They're going to build around him and see if he can do something special next year.
It's pretty tough to placehold a guy, though, that you take, was he like 35 or 40 in the draft? I don't think you grab a guy there to placehold him, but you think about a couple years back, I actually was with Carolina for an offseason, and it gives me like Jimmy Clausen, Cam Newton vibes. Remember they drafted Jimmy Clausen?
Yep.
They were like, Jimmy Clausen might be our guy of the future. They took him early in the second, I think. And they weren't convinced, and they grabbed Cam the next year, and that was it for Jimmy. So, yeah, if that happens, that'd be a tough road for Schuck. But, yeah, I think he's in a nice spot going forward.
So can we pull up the NFL playoff picture with the bracket, so to speak, if you will? Do you have because we all get mulligans on our picks, where our preseason picks were not spectacular. Neither one of them made the playoffs for me.
Right.
Who did you have, the Chiefs versus who?
I had the Chiefs and the Eagles again.
Okay, so you're still alive. You still got you don't even need it. If you want to redo, you can do a mulligan. But and now that the playoff picture is set, do you have Do you have a conference matchup or a Super Bowl matchup? I gave mine today, so I know exactly where I'm going. So I should have probably prepped you a little bit.
Well, the hard thing about it is I don't know why, and I watched them, and I think they're really good. I still don't think I believe Seattle is what Seattle is right now.
I am with you.
I've watched Sam Darnold 2 years in a row win 14 games, which I think he's maybe one of two to ever do it.
Yep.
Him and the GOAT. I think the only quarterbacks to ever win 14 regular season games are, you've heard, I mean, Manning's been there, Rodgers been there. None of them have made that happen. Just Tom Brady and Sam Darnold, which is crazy. But if I had to,
I'm with you. I do. The Seahawks right now are the Super Bowl favorites. I am not a believer. I don't even have them getting to the Super Bowl.
I'll be real, man. I'm still thinking about Sam Darnold's last end of the season and playoffs last year with Minnesota, and I'm not bought in totally. I think that's probably the problem for me.
So I'm with you. I'm not sold on Seattle. There is very much a difference in speeds in the NFL between preseason, regular season, and postseason. And postseason playing experience matters because you have to learn how to prepare, how to react, how to handle the pressure of it is win or go home. Sam Darnold has zero experience with success in that position. And to get to the Super Bowl, he's going to have to go through somebody who has years of experience, including a Super Bowl ring on his finger, and Matthew Stafford, who is my MVP for this season. The Rams, they did split with them. They both won at home. But if you remember, the last time they faced Seattle, they blew that 14-point lead. And even down the stretch, Sam Darnold has been a little bit dicey. I don't want to take away from what Sam Darnold has done, but I still think he's got to earn the trust of everyone in the postseason, in the crunch time, on the biggest stage in the game, that he can deliver. He's proven he can win games. Like, that is awesome. And he is at a totally different point in his career now where I think even going into this season, myself included, was like, I don't know, can he do this in another team? He has done it. And maybe this is unfair because of his history, but I need to see him step up in that position against some of the best and step up and do it.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong at all with that. And I would take it one step further. Not only do I think I don't believe in the one seed in the NFC, I don't think I'm all in on the one seed in the AFC, right? Because I think when it comes to the playoffs, I always hearken back to, I have to see you do it. And once I've seen you do it, you put yourself in a different space for me where I believe in you. Anytime, I mean, can you think of the last rookie that has gone in that you felt and I know Bo Nix is not a rookie, but he's young quarterback. Who's the last real young quarterback you felt real confident in going to the playoffs? Because right now, if you ask me on the left side, I probably believe in Brock Purdy. I believe in Matt Stafford. I believe in Jordan Love. I believe in Jalen Hurts more than I believe in Sam Darnold. And on the right side, I believe in Rodgers clearly. I believe in Josh Allen even. Yep. And I don't know why. It just keeps coming back to my MVP, Drake May. Something about Drake May just sits different with me. I don't get the young kid vibe from him. I don't feel like he's overmatched. I feel like he's built for this. And I don't know, man. I don't think the ones in either side are too convincing to me.
Your list of quarterbacks you trust is deeper than mine. Okay. Because we were talking about experience. I think I trust Brock Purdy. He's been to a Super Bowl, even played good in a Super Bowl.
Definitely.
I mean, Bryce Young, we don't need to really talk about that. Mm-hmm. Sam Darnold, we just discussed. Mm-hmm. Jalen Hurts, I trust. He's been there and done that, got the ring. And Stafford. I still don't trust Jordan Love or Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Caleb Williams, I'm not. And he's been awesome.
And
he's been awesome.
And, like, that's the chance. You could miss out. Like, if you wanted to bet the Bears, I would not put money on them, but I might miss out on that train. I'll get on it late. I'd rather get on it late than get on it, too early, because I think next year the Bears are going to be even more formidable. They just need the experience playing in the postseason.
All right, so question for you here. So Caleb Williams has played in big games. You're somebody who played in a million big games in college. Does it translate? Does a big Rose Bowl, does that prep you in any way for an NFC championship game?
In no way whatsoever.
Really?
I thought it did. Because we made the playoffs my second year in the league, and I remember Rod Dowhauer, my quarterback coach at the time, was talking to me about what it took to play in the postseason, how intensity level ramps up, and the defensive strategy. Like, they'll throw more at you because everyone's putting in extra time. The players are playing harder. I've talked about that before too. The regular season, everybody's kind of like getting through it, right? You're managing minutes, you're load managing, even now more than ever. But the playoffs, everyone is all go all the time. Like, the motor is on the whole game. They don't take plays off. So you are going to be under more pressure as a quarterback. The windows are going to get tighter. Your play clock, your internal play clock has to be sped up. And all of that can wreak havoc on a young quarterback, because all of a sudden you're like, wait, this is different than when I faced the 17 games. And unless you've done it, you really don't understand it. In college, it's nowhere close to the same.
Interesting.
It's just a different level. Now, pressure, handling the magnitude of the moment, I think Caleb Williams is ready for that.
You do?
Yeah. It's just a different experience playing in the speed and intensity that you're playing in the playoffs.
See, that's the interesting part to me. I actually would have thought it would have been the mindset and the mentality and the preparation more than anything else, the ability to lock in with all the noise on the outside, not the physical part, because Caleb Williams is physically incredibly gifted, right?
100%.
He's like Mahomes level talent, I think, if he does it physically, right? But that's so cool to hear you say. I didn't know that. It's a good perspective on it.
I've got the Rams versus. What do they play? They don't play. Who the Rams play round 1? Is that right?
Is it Philly? Hold on one sec.
I'll check it out because I thought they had, but I have the Rams.
I have it right here.
I think I just did a bracket.
I thought they got Carolina.
They do have Carolina 1. Okay, so the weird is the brackets because they reseed, so you don't know who their next round matchup is. I think in mine, I had the Rams versus the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I have the Rams beating the Eagles.
Okay.
And then on the AFC, I had the Bills over the Broncos, I'm pretty sure was my other one. So I have the Bills versus the Rams.
Okay.
And I've got the Rams, your Super Bowl champions.
Dude, and it's a great pick.
Although the Bills is the one that's out there. A lot of people are selling the Bills, saying, I don't know, it hadn't been great. Their defense is getting run through. I thought it was huge that the Ravens were eliminated because I did not want to see the Bills have to slow down Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson together. Yeah. But I am kind of buying in that this is Josh Allen's year to get there. Now, I don't have him getting all the way through, but I do think without Mahomes, without Burrow, I think it's his year.
So say it for me one more time. Who do the Rams beat?
The Rams are beating the Eagles.
The Rams
I had them. Yeah.
The Rams and the Eagles are both in the
NFC Championship.
Okay, so who's winning your Super Bowl then?
I had the Rams over the Bills.
The Rams over the Bills in the Super Bowl. Okay, let me ask you this question, because now that we look at it and I'm like actually looking at it, if I'm the Rams and I could sign up for an away playoff game against Carolina versus, I think I'd do that.
Absolutely.
You could give me an away game versus Carolina rather than a home game, I think, versus one of these other
all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would take that all day. The other interesting thing is the rematch of the Packers versus the Bears. It'll be the third time they have played. They split so far. I had the Bears winning that game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as much as it pains me to say this, being a Jets guy my entire life and a Chiefs guy now, kind of, I don't know why I see the Patriots doing it, man. I have very little belief in Justin Herbert still. Yeah. I don't know why. And he's one of those guys, until he shows me that he's capable, I don't believe he's capable. I feel the same way about Trevor Lawrence. And then I want to see, my heart tells me I want to see Aaron Rodgers make a real run. I don't expect it. I really want to see it, man. I am not on the bandwagon. I don't know why. I never little interesting. He's a different cat, but I always liked him. I like that he speaks his mind. I like that he loves football. I like he loves football. I like that he's got other interests, and I think he's just absurdly talented. He still throws the football there's nobody on the planet that I think can outthrow him still. He still made throws last night that I was just like, wow. A couple throws to Freiermuth, just some of those throws that was incredible.
They are a 3.5-point dog against the Houston Texans. Yeah, which makes sense. They're at home. There's probably 6.5 on a neutral field, but the home field gives you 3.
Yeah.
So that feels about right. I would love to see it too. I just don't believe it.
Yeah.
I think I'm always a favor of the old man. I mean, look, I got Matthew Stafford, 37, old man, winning the whole thing.
37, old man.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
So I was watching games yesterday.
Okay.
And I was actually pretty attuned to the Giants-Cowboys game. We had talked a lot about Jaxson Dart, so I was like, hey, let me go check this out.
Okay.
Just kind of watching it, and all of a sudden my phone starts pinging with notifications.
Old teammate of yours right
there. What's
huh?
happened? Yeah.
Well, interesting.
Michael Strahan, who I thought was one of my guys. We played 3 years together with the Giants.
Sure.
And then he was breaking down. I think it was during halftime. I think of the Giants-Cowboys game, and he had this to say.
And one of my old teammates, Danny Kanell, said, well, I don't know if Jaxson Dart has proven he's the quarterback of the future, if he deserves a new contract, but Danny played 2 good games and got a new contract. So relax there, Danny.
Whoa, shots fired.
But Jaxson Dart, to me, I think this young man has a lot of talent. I mean, that 28-yard.
I do too. That's the thing. I'm catching strays from Strahan. I don't know. Just catching strays out there from nowhere. At least I do think He did put in, like he said he's not sure about him as the future, because the way the response has been from both Jaxson Dart's dad and a lot of Giants fans who were like trashing me, calling me the worst quarterback they've ever seen in New York Giants history. Like, you would have think I would have said he was a bust, or I was going to be, you should cut him. Never said that one time. My theory on Strahan, this is my theory.
Okay.
I think he's a little upset because something that transpired during the day, he just moved down the ranks of the single-season sack leader, where Myles Garrett surpassed him. So maybe he's a little grumpy, maybe he's a little bit upset, and feels like he had to take some frustration out on somebody, and I'm just the guy that it happened to happen to. I don't know. Maybe that was it. There is probably some truth in what he's saying. 2 games might even be optimistic. That might even be on the high side. Here's my question for anybody, because I get this all the time. I'm sure you get this too. It's like, oh, you weren't any good, which I wasn't. I was a journeyman. I only started 2 years. Why does that make me inadequate to be able to recognize who can be good?
Right. So I say a lot of times people will pull up my NFL profile and there's nothing on it, right? Let's be real honest. But I'll always say to them, like, guys, like, the bottom of the top 1% on the planet is something I can absolutely live with. And then what I always say to them back is, so if I'm only like not allowed to say anything because I didn't have much of an NFL career, what does that give you? See, Strahan's a tough one simply because he's done it at the highest level. Yeah. When you sue it to a regular person, it's easy to say. I'll just say, like, what does that give you the ability to speak about? You know what I'm saying? Look, what I think with the whole situation, from the time Jaxson Dart's dad got his hands on it to Michael Strahan getting his hands on it, is I think they didn't watch the whole clip. I think, Dan, man, you killed yourself in the first sentence. I think if you would have just flip-flopped some stuff around.
No, but you lead with the opinion.
But I think if you would have said, I want to see him take the next step as a passer next year, and the first thing you said, what was
I'm not sure of the future. If I said, I am not sure if Jaxson Dart is the future of the New York Giants.
Right. So I've seen a comedy sketch where they say, like in one culture, if you say the curse word before this, it's, have you seen that?
Yes.
Well, it's something like that. Like, I think if you would have just started that clip with, I want to see him take the next step as a passer, right? You go into what he's done as a passer, and look, he started 12 games. I went into it because when I saw it, I said, they're killing Danny for this, so I got to see if there's any substance to what Danny's saying. His completion percentage, his touchdowns, his interception, and his passer rating all went down in his last 6 starts versus his first 6 starts. So I think what you're getting at is, you would imagine that as a guy gets more comfortable and gets more acclimated to the speed and acclimated to his wideouts and what he's going to see every week, that he would begin to progress a bit. And you didn't see that. So look, I'm not going to put words in your mouth. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I think we broke it down last week. I don't believe in any young quarterback until I see you do it for long enough, right? We've seen the coordinators in there. They're going to come at him with different stuff next year. We said he plays the game in a dangerous way too, so we hope he's got you acknowledge his running ability, and I just think the way you said it was a little tough.
So there's also, you can't just be in the middle. You can't say, I don't know, he might be good. Because when I was watching the broadcast, they were comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, all right, if you want to take... Yes, during the game, because he had a pretty good first half. Right. I mean, he had really good numbers in the first half. And I swear, because I was watching this, they were talking about him, comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. Oh, this is the Mahomes-like qualities that they love about him. They think he could be the... And if you said to me, all right, are you going with he's not the future or he's Patrick Mahomes? I'll definitely go with he's potentially not the future. Like, I'm not willing to go that far yet, but that doesn't get you anywhere. So even during the broadcast, they want to make strong statements so they get people fired up about it. I hope he does well. I've said that a bunch on here. I think it'll be very interesting to see what defenses adjust to, because he's been able to run all over defenses. I promise you, defenses will defend him as a running quarterback next year, where he'd be forced to win from the pocket. He made a great throw yesterday, a great, gorgeous touchdown pass under pressure. He's got sick arm talent. I also am curious to see how he handles the success that he's had. I mean, if you call 4 wins success, but I'm curious to see how he handles this offseason. I don't know whether they're going to go for a coach or an offensive coordinator. Who's going to be his play caller? All of those things are almost more important than the signs of promise that Jaxson Dart has shown, because we've seen that time and time again. I mean, Drake May was ready to be written off as a bust last year. He gets a great coach. They get Josh McDaniels back, Mike Vrabel. All of a sudden, he's in the MVP conversation. Maybe that's the upside that Jaxson Dart could see, but I need to see what pieces they're going to put around him first.
Yeah, I think Mahomes has a lot of Steph Curry in him, right? Like he's changed the way that the position is played, and so many of this generation's quarterbacks do these things where they run and they'll throw off a back foot and they'll drop to a different arm slot and they'll flick their wrist and send the ball out there 60 yards. We saw Zach Wilson do it in his pro day, and it got him drafted second, and right now we don't even know what he's doing. So you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys, before you start comparing Mahomes and Jaxson Dart, you got to pump the brakes. Think about what Mahomes did in his first full season. His first season
50
started.
touchdowns.
Guys, and a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, right? Did he win the Super Bowl his first year? Or did he get to the Super Bowl?
I think he did.
Yeah,
I think
me
he
too.
won his first year.
So I'm saying, like, guys, we just got to keep things in perspective. And when we say these crazy statements like that, it almost delegitimizes everything else you are saying. There's so many guys physically gifted enough to make a Patrick Mahomes throw. Jaxson Dart is completely and utterly physically competent. We all know that. There's nothing on a football field as a quarterback that Jaxson Dart can't do right now. And I think what the question is going to be is when he starts to see new things and when his body starts to get banged up a little bit, does he change the way he did a good job getting out of bounds a couple times? Like I didn't see him really get smacked this week,
right.
Which is that's a step in the right direction. Yeah,
Definitely.
That's what I want to see from him. And we've talked about that. Honestly, that's a big part of the first part of anybody. I was thinking about it with the Aaron Glenn situation. I want to see improvement. I want to see you learning from things and your guys getting better. The same thing goes with Jaxson Dart. I want to see him making those adjustments. He did a great job not getting hit this week. And we'll see going forward. I don't think in any way were you dogging him out and saying he's a bust. We got to go get another quarterback. You didn't say that, right?
No, not at all. Did you, speaking of the Jets, did you see, so Dante Moore, the quarterback at Oregon, is a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's making the decision on whether to come out or not.
Yeah.
Did you see what would impact his decision?
What was it? Who picks?
He said if he's going to the Jets, he wants to go back to Oregon.
I saw a terrible tweet that I thought was fake, and it was something to that nature. But no, don't say that to me.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I think so. And it was Todd McShay. I think Todd McShay was the one who had the report out there that said that his representatives had reached out to see if he'd be the number 1 overall to go to the Raiders, or if he falls, that he would be the Jets quarterback. And he's like, I don't want to go there, which I don't blame him. There's also a part of me when we hear this discussion, like Joe Burrow has had a lot of, this hasn't been a good 2 years, been hurt a ton,
right? But
he did get to a Super Bowl. There were people that said Cincinnati was a place that he shouldn't have gone.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know. There's something to me as a competitor that you want to go as high as possible, and then you'll be the difference. But I get there's been a bunch of dysfunction.
Well, McShay said something also earlier that I heard him saying. He's absolutely right in the sense where he said, if you did not grow up a Jets fan, you do not want to play for the Jets. And as someone who's a Jet fan, and I'm a New Yorker, man, and I've watched it with so many of my teams. So heed my advice to any athlete coming into the league or big free agents who are, deciding if the New York market is for you. Guys, Danny can probably attest to it as good as anybody in the world. It could be the most miserable place to play in the world. But if you have confidence and you come in there the right way and somehow, some way you do succeed. If you're Derek Jeter or you're Mark Messier or look at Jalen Brunson, Joe Namath. I mean, guys, there is nowhere better to play. So I would say this. I would say if you're afraid of the spotlight and you don't want to deal with that heat, A, you're probably not cut out for that city. And B, you're not going to win there. So it's going to be miserable for you. But I would say if you embrace it and you come in there with the right mindset, I mean, could you think of a cooler place you made the playoffs one year. You were 8-2 one year?
Yep.
You're 8-2
Those
one year.
must have been my 2 good games. That year.
Was it the coolest thing in the world to be the Giants quarterback?
That offseason was incredible. Even though we lost in the playoffs, we lost at home to the Vikings. That offseason, there's no better place to be king of the town. When you have the run of it, you get the A-lister treatment. Think about, too, Chad Pennington, Vinny Testaverde, they were good quarterbacks for the Jets, but they're still remembered as winners with the Jets. So they still get treated great when they go up to New York.
Absolutely. And if you're a part of any sort of winning culture, you win it if you somehow get your name on a championship trophy up there. I mean,
you'll be set for life.
I mean, look, Patrick Ewing goes there. He made it to the finals twice. I remember the New York Rangers team that I grew when I was a little kid that I see. These guys show up around town. They still go to the Garden and they get 3-minute ovations. Any of those core 4 Yankees or anybody on those rosters, they come back to Old Timers Day. They're treated like heroes. So I guess that's what I would say. Dante Moore, my message to you is, dude, if you want to embrace it and you're built for it, you got that dog in you and you want to go win a championship in New York, go. But if you don't want to because you don't want to play there and that's too much for you, you're probably not the right man for the job anyway, so I'm comfortable with it.
I talked to Dante Moore last week. I was covering the Orange Bowl. We did media days, so I got to do a one-on-one with him. I asked him about his decision.
Okay.
I said, are you – and I expected a politically correct answer. Like, I'm not even thinking about that until our season's over.
Yeah.
These kids nowadays are built different. They're just more honest. So I said, hey, have you thought about what you're going to do when the season's over? Like, you had a big decision to make. He goes, well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about it.
Okay.
He said, I'm human. I see what's out there. He's like, we're going to look at all the options and see what's on the table, and then I'll make a decision when our season's over. Yeah. To me, it feels like he's leaning like he's going. If you're going to be a top 5 pick, which he most certainly would be, the money's really hard to pass up, although we're seeing quarterbacks get $5 million a year. But that's nowhere close to what you get on a rookie deal as a top 5 pick.
And we've seen too many guys test that and go back, and then they're different. They don't come back the same. They're not in that same draft position, right? So it's tough, man. It's a lot to leave there. Let me ask you this. 2 questions. Are you consensus Mendoza #1, Dante Moore #2, or I am. Can this game, because they do play against each other this weekend, can the game sway you if Dante Moore goes in there and throws for 3 touchdowns, no picks, 330, has a great game and wins? Can he flip-flop it? Do the most of the teams in the league feel like Fernando Mendoza is 1 and Dante Moore is 2, or is there some teams on the fence?
I've seen a lot of people have Dante Moore #1.
They do.
QB1. Yeah. Okay. People are very, very high on him. And it's one of those, it's the all-time debate. Do you go with upside or do you go with the floor? Because I think Fernando Mendoza's floor is, in relatively speaking, to some other, like, I thought Anthony Richardson was a really high risk-reward proposition. Sure. I think Fernando Mendoza's risk is very low. Okay. And I think he can be a really, really good quarterback in the NFL. What they're thinking with Dante Moore is that because he's only played a year of college football, that, you're dealing with somebody, could he be Jordan Love? Because that's who he reminds me of. Or is he going to be Trey Lance? I think that's the floor and ceiling that you're dealing with, because everybody loved Trey Lance after 1 year of football at North Dakota State. It was look at the upside.
That's
look
another
at the
thing to level he played at, too,
For
right?
sure. And Dante Moore's playing at a different level. But I do think that's the age-old debate. Do you want to swing for the fences and see if you get, somebody of that caliber where he's getting that next deal? Or do you want to play a little safer? And I don't think Fernando Mendoza is playing it safe. I think he can be really good at the next level. I just have seen him do it over time. I liked what he did at Cal last year, where he kind of elevated around him there. He played under adversity. He's mobile. He can make all the throws. And neither one of these guys, they're both great people. But Fernando Mendoza is somebody I think I'd want to, be the face of my franchise. I could get behind Dante Moore too, but Fernando Mendoza is just built kind of different. He's that Andrew Luck, Kirk Cousins.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Kind of nerdy. Yeah. You not worry about him partying too much.
You don't worry about him partying too much. You don't worry him
money.
Don't worry about him worrying what people think about him. Like he went up there, called his mommy, which is like the craziest thing I've ever heard. But a question.
A quick one on that.
Go ahead. It's like a Latin thing.
Yeah, it's a Latin thing. Like, I know. Mommy, M-A-M-I.
Yeah,
like
I got
mommy.
you. Yeah. But now my question is this, and I'm trying to think about it right now, and I guess maybe Jaden Daniels comes to mind, depending on how he turns out. But when there's the sure shot and the super high ceiling go 1-2, how many times has the super high ceiling panned out? Can you think of one? Because I think right now I'm of the belief I'm going to go with the Andrew Luck and the Fernando Mendoza. And it's not a style.
You know who might have been a potential guy?
Who?
Josh Allen. Because he came out of Wyoming, had a lot of interceptions.
That's a great call.
His completion percentage out of college was not great.
Yeah.
He was a swing for the fence. Now, I think he wasn't a top 5 pick. What did Josh Allen go?
I thought he was. Like I thought 5 or 6. No. I thought he was 5 or 6. No?
He might. I'll look it up real quick. But he definitely had more risk.
That draft was super loaded, right? Wasn't there a ton of quarterbacks in that draft, Josh Allen draft? Let me look. I got to figure.
I'm trying to see where he was drafted too.
Got it.
He was selected first round, 7th overall pick. And I thought that was a reach at the time because I was a little bit, I wanted to see better tape. So I would have missed out on Josh Allen potentially. Okay. I wanted to see him pull it together a little bit better because I was just looking through the starters in the NFL, seeing who was come out. Lamar Jackson might have been one of those guys that was like people didn't know if he could translate. That was one of my best evaluations because that covered him a ton.
Lamar?
I said, I was sitting with Colin Cowherd on Colin Cowherd's radio show. Okay. There's a clip of it out there. And I said the best steal in this draft will be Lamar Jackson if you utilize him as a weapon in the run game, which the Ravens were like, yep, we're going to build around him. We're going to let him be a runner. And, MVPs later, and here we are. He was a very risky pick. A lot of people,
he made it to the end of the first round, right? He was a clear best college football player in the country that year, right?
Yep.
And he made it crazy for that. That draft was loaded with quarterbacks. The Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold draft.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a ton of them in there, huh?
Yeah.
And
but here's the thing. there were a lot of guys who were safe picks who didn't pan out. Yeah. It's just the hardest thing to evaluate as quarterbacks coming out of college.
Yeah, I was hearing somebody talk about like GMs because we said it's Black Monday. These coaches are gone to these GMs last, and I'll see people on Twitter say this GM missed on more picks than he hits, and I'm like, guys. Go through the draft every year. Right. How many? If 32 guys are taken in the first round, there's probably 5 real hits, right? 4 real hits.
And Jimmy Johnson is well known for being one of the greatest evaluators of talent when he collected all those picks with the Cowboys.
Of course.
I guarantee all his weren't home runs. No. He had some busts too. He just hit on some that were really, really good. And so you tend to remember those.
Right.
Of the 7 rounds you go through, like, it's kind of hard to miss on a first rounder outside of quarterback. Like, you should hit on most of those first rounders, although
but you don't. I mean, a lot of these guys don't.
Abdul Carter for the Giants hadn't been great.
What do you constitute as a hit too? Is it a Pro Bowler or is it a guy who starts for 5 or more years? I think if you're
a top 10 pick, you should be in the league for 10 years, and you probably should make a Pro Bowler.
Okay. I was watching yesterday. It's a great, funny you say that. I was watching, and he looked like a man possessed. Was Jadeveon Clowney. And I'm like, man, did I think this guy was going to be so good coming out? He looked for a couple of plays for the Cowboys last week like a man.
He looked a little resurgent.
I may not play next year if I don't do this right now. What almost makes me think he probably could have turned it on a little more a time or two in his career, right?
Yep.
But yeah.
Let's look at the list of coaches. I mentioned Black Monday. There were a couple surprises. That Jonathan Gannon for the Cardinals was the Cardinals are Arizona is a unique market. No one really talks about them that much. So they were kind of flying under the radar. I heard he was a little bit of the hot seat, but he's done there in Arizona. It was interesting because we had not 1, but 2. Shoot, there might have been all 4. Where you had Bidwell, the owner, came up and hugged him before the game.
That was crazy.
Dapped him up and then fired him later. Arthur Blank with the Falcons came up to Raheem Morris after, like kind of shaking his hand. Now, that wasn't quite as cordial. That looked like hey, nice game or whatever. Right. Like, we're going to go take care of this. And then Pete Carroll, after just 1 year, one and done for Pete Carroll with the Raiders. And then lastly, Stefanski. Of these, which one, do you have one that was more surprising than the others?
Well, what surprised me was Coach Ra. And shout out to Coach Ra, who's from Schuster. That's our university. And I thought what I usually want to see, and I say this with all my coaches, and we said it earlier today, is I want to see progress. I want to see guys still playing hard for a coach, and I want to see guys still trying to win and getting better, doing things better. The Falcons came out terribly, right? Their quarterback gets hurt. Michael Penix Jr. is the guy they invested a first-round pick in. He gets hurt. He goes down. He's done for the year, and they lose him. And then they still go on and they win their last 4 games. Bijan Robinson is developing nicely. The defense looks decent. And I'm thinking, all right, and I've even heard reports that he was probably safe. He won the last quarter of the season in a row, right? And before you know it, he's gone. And that one surprised me a little bit. Stefanski, 2-time coach of the year. That's always surprising, but it seemed like his time.
Further removed.
Yeah,
too.
it was just a time for a change, I think, over there. And I think Kevin Stefanski probably has a job.
Yeah,
first,
pretty
right?
quick.
I'll have a job in no time.
Yeah, I think so too. What's crazy, the thing that was surprising me about Pete Carroll, I thought they might give him another year. He fired Chip Kelly's offensive coordinator, so he's going to make some changes there. But financially, have you seen what the Raiders are paying their former coaches, the coaches they have fired?
Yes.
Antonio Pierce is making $8 million. Josh McDaniels $10 million. John Gruden's $10 million. Yep. Pete Carroll's getting $16 million. And by the way, Chip Kelly's getting $6 million, which is insane for an offensive coordinator. That's $50 million on coaches that are fired next year. That's just next year. You'll have to pay them the length of their contracts. So I was a little bit surprised from that one. But it was funny because I was rooting for the old guy and Pete Carroll, but it did feel a little old. It felt like the game had kind of passed him by. His coaching style, all of it had passed him by. So I think I will give Mark Davis some credit for the Raiders for recognizing some of these mistakes and ripping the Band-Aid off, because they're going to draft a quarterback.
That's it. That's
pair him up with a GM and a coach that's all going to be on the same page, put some structure around a young quarterback, either Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, and give him a chance to win. I think that's probably the thing. And in these numbers, they sound like a lot, $50 million. It's a ton of money. But for an NFL owner, it's probably a rounding error. It's just like, hey, we'll just take care of that. It's not that huge for them.
Sure. Yeah, and I'm right there with you. I'm of the belief. I don't like when coaches and GMs and quarterbacks all come in at different times. They don't feel like they're tied together like they have to be in that route. Like I said, you're going to wipe the slate clean there, get your new quarterback in the future, get rid of your coach. Can I ask you a question? How much stroke does Tom Brady have over there? Is he making a lot of decisions out there?
I think he has a lot. I mean, he definitely has a lot of influence because, think about it. Mark Davis, essentially let him on board because he's Tom Brady, right? And that's great. Good for Tom Brady for taking advantage of that.
Right.
But I do think he's pretty involved, and I think he'll
Okay.
be. I mean, the rumblings that are coming out. Have you seen what they're thinking about
That's
doing?
why I'm
Kind of
asking.
running back.
That's
to the
why I'm
Patriots,
asking. Yeah, that's why I'm
you know,
asking.
from that tree. Yeah, absolutely. I think he does have a good influence, and I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Let's hear the sound on Tom Brady because I think he sounds like a smart
And really,
man here.
is there a better guy though for your new quarterback to be able to bounce questions and
it's
ideas off of? Right.
That's great. Now I don't know if he's doing that. Like, is he there? But I would think in the offseason,
And
he definitely could be.
Oh man,
he should be.
And you don't think Fernando Mendoza is going to have his phone number and
my
just be able to
gosh.
say, "Listen."
And guess where Fernando Mendoza grew up? Miami. Tom Brady lives in Miami.
There it
Do
is.
some offseason training
you go.
together
Yeah,
out
perfect.
there. Let me hear Tom Brady's thoughts on the MVP race, which is coming down to Matthew Stafford or Drake May. Is he going to go with the Patriots, his former squad, or is he going to go with the old man and Matthew Stafford?
Is Matthew Stafford your MVP, or do you want to give it to the fellow Patriot, Drake May?
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't get a vote. I think what Matthew Stafford's done this season has been absolutely remarkable. 46 touchdowns. That's, for any quarterback, that's a dream season. So he's been spectacular. Drake May on the other side has done some incredible things with Josh McDaniels in their first year together. Drake's got a long career ahead. I'm sure he's going to have many opportunities. I would say Matthew Stafford.
So I actually think that mindset is why Stafford's going to win. I do think the voters think that way. Matthew Stafford's 37. How many more opportunities am I going to have to submit his name for MVP? Drake May's got a whole career ahead of him. We'll get him next year. I do. And unfortunately, I think that's the human aspect that comes into the voting process, which is why I think Matthew Stafford's going to win it.
Okay. See,
It should be just the best player, right? That's what it should be. But
if it was the best player, a lot of times there'd be a generation where only one guy wins the MVP every year. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I go back to what we said last year, man. I mean, last week. I don't think 37's old anymore. I feel like this is probably not the last time we see Matthew Stafford throw for 45 touchdowns, especially with a young offensive genius on the staff, right? It doesn't look – we heard a couple years ago like Sean McVay might back out of there a little bit. I don't feel like that's going to happen. He's got a young Puka Nacua there. He's got a great receiving core, right? I go back to what I think Drake May did it with minimal help, right? He's not throwing to Devontae and Puka. He's not doing it with an offensive-minded coach. And to take a line from the great Ric Flair, right? He won his division, and to beat a man, you got to beat the man.
True.
And he just took Josh Allen down. He's won the division this year. He's going in there strong, and I think Drake May is 2025-26 MVP.
Man, that would be incredible if he does upset him, because Matthew Stafford right now minus 180 to win. You can get plus money if you want to put some money on Drake May winning. You can make some money at a plus 135. I am curious, a couple quarterbacks this offseason. I did not see this, so I'm going to be the first time hearing this. Lamar Jackson spoke about his future after the loss to the Steelers. Kind of curious to what he said. There was some trade conversation, speculation that goes around. Even John Harbaugh, there was some speculation about their head coach, what direction he goes.
Right.
Let me hear what Lamar Jackson had to say after the game.
Season, there's a lot of questions about your contract, your salary cap number. Do you feel you'll be back as the Ravens quarterback next season?
We just lost a game, a divisional game, a game to put us in the playoffs. I'm not even thinking about that right now, to be honest with you. I'm still caught up in what just happened, That's not my focus right now.
That will be, if Lamar Jackson gets moved, that would be the biggest, that would be a massive bombshell trade piece that happens. But I mentioned before that John Harbaugh, when he was the head coach and they decided to draft Lamar Jackson, they were willing. They were like, all right, we're going to work with him. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of this hinges on John Harbaugh's future. If John Harbaugh's gone, then I think it opens up the door to anything.
Yeah.
But if Harbaugh's back, I do think Lamar Jackson will be back.
And I think that's probably for the best, right? I think that was a great answer. I think that's exactly how you're supposed to answer. I think Lamar Jackson, man, as he's growing up, he's maturing, man. He's never slipped up. I love Lamar Jackson. I think he's done a wonderful job with the media his whole time. And look, that wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault. This is the third playoff game. Well, this was a quasi-playoff game, right? Mm-hmm. I think the last 2 years in the playoffs, he hit Mark Andrews. Remember, Mark Andrews had those huge drops in that thing?
Yeah, brutal.
That one doesn't fall back on Lamar. Last night, he had him in position to win a game with what we said. We would
hit Isaiah Likely.
Basically a chip shot. He made a great throw. He had him in position. He takes a lot of flack for some early season losses. I think he's gotten a lot better at it. As somebody who, again, roots for the Jets, I talk about it way too much, but a coach, we never had one, and a quarterback, I've never had one. So I look at teams who have a Mike Tomlin and who have a Harbaugh, and they're so quick to quit on him. Like, guys, the grass is not always greener. Let me tell you, It was a tough one. John Harbaugh is getting a ton of flack too, because yesterday, we talked about it before we got on the air, they didn't just run the ball with Derrick Henry and try to get another 5 or 6 and make the kick easier. They actually stepped back, moved to the center of the field, and kneeled, which turned it from like a 40 to a 44. But I got to be honest, when I watched that ball come off his foot and just immediately fly right, that wasn't a matter of it being 35 or 40 yards. I feel like that kick was missed. That wasn't a too hard of a kick. That was just a mental thing, man.
You know what else I would venture to guess? I would almost guarantee this.
Go ahead.
Harbaugh asked the kicker, what do you want?
Yeah.
Where do you want this? Do you want it lined up in the middle? Do you want it from the hash, closer? What do you want?
Right. And so you have Derrick Henry, who's probably the greatest power back of his generation. Let him go get more if he doesn't, if that's what you need.
Right. Yeah. So I think he probably, that conversation was had. The other quarterback in the news, Tua Tagovailoa, who was benched with several weeks to go in the season. Quinn Ewers has been playing pretty good. He was asked by the media, I don't think there's sound of this one, but he was asked about a fresh start if he wanted to see a change of scenery. And he said, that sounds dope. Right? That's really hard to read. Yeah. But he said, that would be dope. I'd be down for that. And I would say, yes, if you're Tua, you would probably love to get out of Dodge. I would be good with it. So he's kind of floating it out there. He's not demanding a trade because he probably knows no one's going to want to pick up that contract. And he's basically saying, if someone, I don't want to be harsh, if someone's dumb enough to pick up my contract, I would love to have a change of scenery. I'm really fascinated to see, because it is such a big contract with such a huge cap number, what the Dolphins are going to do with Tua. And are they able to move him? Are they going to cut him? Are they just going to have him compete with Quinn Ewers? Well, they can't do that, can they?
Well, yeah. I mean, they could, like we talked about multiple times on the show. As long as Quinn Ewers is getting paid like a 7th-round pick, you don't really cripple your room by having him play. And Quinn Ewers is another one. Remember, we were talking a couple of segments ago about guys who came back for another year and their stock dropped significantly. Like, I thought if Quinn Ewers would have come out a year earlier, he would have been a much higher pick. And then he goes back and he winds up going 7th and barely lands in the draft. But yeah, I mean, that's a tough one from Tua. It answers our question, like we've been saying. I wonder if he calls it quits, right? Then we say he made a ton of money. He probably could call it quits. That doesn't sound like a guy who's ready to, hang his cleats up.
Right.
Looks like he wants to play somewhere else. But like you said, man, I don't know which team is desperate or dumb enough to take that contract and really trust that Tua is your future going forward. Can he be a Band-Aid quarterback somewhere? I guess potentially.
Yep.
But if you're a team that doesn't believe this is a 2-quarterback draft, and after those 2 you got nobody, maybe take an outside shot if you can get Miami to pick a lot of it up. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think he's a real sexy prospect for anybody, right?
No, I don't think so either. All right, let's finish it out with a little reactions for the guys. We got to come up with a better name. Are we just this is just Mano and Kanell reactions? I feel like we need a better tail end of the show. But nonetheless, the boys in the control room, they come up with some videos
they sure do.
that we have not seen, and they find them. They are scouring the web. What do we got to start off with?
What the hell is this? No.
Is that real?
You jealous that I'm quicker. Here's my middle finger. Liam Lawson.
We're getting road rage.
What the hell? Oh! Of course they see. Hey.
Is this joke? Is this real? Is that real audio, or is this like?
Hey.
And I'm trying to grasp. Are these drivers talking to each other? Can you hear each other? Are they talking to their crews?
Some of them are real.
But I don't. I've got like a perfect view.
Well, first of all, it says the Brazilian Grand Prix. I feel like most of them will be speaking Portuguese, right?
Yes. So, I don't know. But a lot of those crews.
Interesting.
Maybe? Yeah.
Interesting, gentlemen.
I like that one. All right, what else we got? Oh, I saw this. Did you see this?
No.
Yeah. No. So they have like this little 10-yard window to drink the beer while they're walking, and then you sprint the lap. This girl smoked the field. Looks close now. Wait till she gets going. Strong. What are those, ultras? Those are kind of like hydration.
It's a Florida State girl. Has to be.
Yeah, it
has to be a Florida State girl.
A minute 16 lap is moving.
A minute 16 lap without beers is moving.
Yes, that's my point.
Yeah.
And then she's built. She's pretty ripped.
Look how fast she put that.
Not even phased.
Holy cow.
I mean, she's getting stronger.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Wow.
Think we could take her?
In what?
In the beer mile.
No, she'll beat me in
No
beers and
chance.
she'll beat me in the mile.
Both of them.
Yeah.
I don't think I would stand a chance either. All right, what's next?
Oh, we got Mario Kart. Oh, I did see that one. Oh, my God.
Gosh.
Yeah.
That's a little whiplash. Jeez, did his helmet come off?
His head almost came off.
Gosh, he almost got decapitated.
Yeah, I saw that one at home.
Brutal.
That was a crazy one.
That is
Guys got to
rough.
do a better job with those safety harnesses.
Yeah,
huh?
right?
Golly.
Yeah, keep those guys strapped in. I used to love go-karting as a kid.
And those kids look like they were going like 12 miles an hour. That's I mean, they don't look like they're flying to have an accident like that.
Oh, here you go.
NFL in Japan.
Oh, that would be so brutal. Oh, Andy's a Dolphins fan on top of it. That makes it worse. Oh, but he's got the win. This is outstanding.
You got 7-Eleven over there, huh?
What would it say? 7 in holdings? You got to be a diehard.
Yeah, that's like one market the U.S. hasn't tapped into. NFL
Right?
hasn't tapped into, man. They'll get up for a baseball game like crazy over there.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video of them like going crazy for the Dodger games?
Oh, yeah.
I
They
mean,
go
like
nuts.
animals. They're all up. Yeah,
They go
it's great.
absolutely nuts.
Oh, we gotta do a better
Finishing
job,
the game
NFL.
at 5:57 a.m. And now what? What do you got to do now? Andy lost. Oh, there you go. He's a Miami fan. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah,
Well, at least he had the Cotton Bowl. He got the win there.
Yeah,
That
as
was
an
good.
East Coaster, I was never able to understand watching football at 10 a.m. I think that's crazy enough to think about these guys getting up at 3
Across
in the
the
morning. It's
world,
wild.
that would be nuts. I played
Yeah.
in Tokyo in the preseason.
Yeah?
Yeah, they were trying to sell it over there.
Here's a beautiful city.
Yeah.
But there was this weird thing. He gave me this nickname, and it happened immediately. I have no idea why, because we barely spoke to each other. He called me Coach. So Randy would call me Coach. Everywhere, you know, we'd be waiting in line. He's like, oh, yeah, Coach, I know you're going to get on this pot roast because you look like pot roast, Coach. Yeah, you big fat. I bet you, you're going to have 2 pieces of pot roast? Yeah, I bet you. You know what? Have 3. I'm telling people from back home, like, Randy Moss gave me a nickname. He really likes me. And then Bill Belichick at one point, as all the rookies get in front of the room and say their name, who they are. And I can't remember if it was in the meeting or immediately after, but Randy Moss pulls me aside. He goes, motherfucker, you a player? He goes, you been a player this whole time? You gray-haired bitch? I thought you was a coach. He was like, you a player? Oh, hell no, Bill. Did we waste a draft pick on this motherfucker? Are you kidding me? God damn, Bill. And I'm just like, oh my God, that was not a nickname.
That is awesome. That is great content right there.
Randy Moss must be one of those guys who thinks everybody's a freak like him. Randy, not everybody's 6'4", 200 pounds like you are, my man. It doesn't work like that for everybody.
He actually nailed the accent because West Virginia Randy has got a little twang in him. He sounded exactly like him.
And everybody who spent time with him has like a voice for him and has like a story about him. I think Edelman's got a huge one about getting his hot tub ready and getting him a Gatorade. Get my hot tub about 105, give me a Gatorade, Edelman.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And then he's ready to go.
Yeah,
Best receiver I ever threw to, and by far. Absolutely
probably
insane.
one other guy on the planet that would make that sentence. Not you, probably the best receiver almost everybody's thrown to. His name's Jerry, right?
No doubt.
Yeah, unbelievable.
All right, that's a wrap for us. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Let us know your thoughts on the show. Even if you're the haters. I got a lot of hate this week. We can live with it. We got thick skin, but we also love some love too. Appreciate you guys. At Danny Kanell.
At Man O' Steel. Guys, actually, we've got some cool merch coming. Check us out. Jerseys, VTmerch.com. We'll get them up soon. We'll get you details when we have them. Thank you.